Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cop Ultras, a podcast show. I'm your host, Poovan, and let's get into the match preview for Liverpool versus Bournemouth in the Barclays Premier League. So we are back into the second week of our match day in the Premier League, and so Liverpool are going up against a pretty sturdy Bournemouth team. Looking at the current season, looking at their current lineup, uh, last season at home against Bournemouth, we whooped them 9-0. And then on the reverse fixture, we went into Bournemouth's home ground and we lost there 1-0. So a lot of things to discuss about, preferably on how the lineup is going to be. Yes, I have shared my screen, and this is basically what I have come up with in terms of my lineup. Definitely, I would like to talk a little bit about the outcomes of what had happened in again from the match between Liverpool versus Chelsea. So a few positives we can take from the game in terms of how our attack is being designed at the current moment. Looking at how the team was being built up, we looking at the fact that we didn't have any defensive midfielders at that point in time. So now with the likes of Wataru Endo being coming in for coming in to as an addition for the defensive midfield position. Things are looking slightly brighter on our side, but highly unlikely that Wataru Endo would be featuring for us in the game against Bournemouth due to his work permit and international clearance, so far as to say. So as far as I have read, if international clearance has been provided for Wataru Endo by midday UK time, then chances are he might feature for our club in his first match against Bournemouth, but pretty unlikely that he will be straight away integrated into the first team as in the first 11 of the game. Probably he will be in as a substitute, but definitely I can say it will be a 50-50 possibility of him featuring for us in this match against Bournemouth. In my opinion, instead of going 50-50, I think, in my opinion, highly unlikely he would feature today. So, with that being said, yes, we have made a fantastic signing in terms of signing a defensive midfielder in Wataru Endo. Hopefully, there are more signings and there are more targets that Jurgen Klopp and the transfer committee are looking at the point. Definitely a lot of questions being raised as to why have we got someone like Wataru Endo, but truth be told, guys, there are a lot of positive reviews about Wataru Endo in terms of his leadership, in terms of his playing style, in terms of his character attributes, and and what he brings to the club. And I think looking at all that and looking at the type of positions and the roles that he can fill in the club, I think Jurgen Klopp felt that 20 million for a defensive midfielder. Yes, he's 30 years old, but another interesting stat for Wataru Endo is that he's only had 2 injuries in the last 3 seasons. So that says a lot about his resilience and his work ethic. So he never lets injuries get past him. He rarely ever gets injured. Almost features in almost all the games for Stuttgart as captain. He can play in 3 roles. He can play in the defensive midfield, centre back, and the right back. I think him filling up these kind of roles is what absolutely Klopp has looked at and said that he really, really needs a player with an experience like Endo in the team. So with what I said about Wataru Endo aside, let's go into what we are going to go into, the main topic, which is Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Like I said previously, things didn't go well for us in the last season. Yes, we absolutely smashed Bournemouth 9-0. Goals coming in from all the players, Trent scored, Diaz scored, and Salah scored. So with looking into that performance, yes, it was absolutely massive, really good performance by Liverpool. But on Bournemouth's end, yes, they were coached by, I think it was by Scott Parker last season. not a good season for Bournemouth, but then they did survive in the Premier League. They didn't get into relegation. This season they have another new manager, Ariola. So definitely looking forward to a very interesting matchup. Not to say a very entertaining matchup, but definitely an interesting one because their first game of the season, they actually drew 1-1 against West Ham. So Dominic Solanke, who was the former striker and forward for Liverpool a few years back, he scored the equalizer. So they are also now a very, very resilient team. They are a very, very physical team. Um, Looking at how we had faced them in the past and in terms of how we faced them away in their home end, we never really played well. We lost 1-0. We got absolutely bullied in the midfield because, with the likes of an underperforming Henderson, with the underperforming Fabinho, and the whole midfield being having a lot of questions that needed answers. So I think physically and mentally we were absolutely drained in that game. I think that was probably the the cause of why we lost in that game, in that matchup. So looking forward to this season. Yes, we are facing Bournemouth and our first home game of the season. Apparently, they are expanding the Anfield Road end, so they are not going to have a full maximum capacity. The construction is still going on. They're still going to have almost a full house if you take away the whole expansion thing away. So a massive, massive moment for us to actually put things, get things into the right direction. Um, Definitely looking forward to this matchup. Hopefully we can win against Bournemouth, but we always have to keep in mind that our midfield is still new. We have two additional signings in terms of McAllister and Soboslai. I know they would mold well into Klopp's system and our playing style and our formation. No doubts about that. But definitely this will be another. Every game in the Premier League will be another testing. We will be tested in the Premier League. Not only in the Premier League, every other match as well. Yeah, in the European competitions, in cup competitions as well. So this will be another test to see how good is our midfield like. Yes, Endo won't be there. Highly unlikely he'll be featuring. So now we will go into the lineup of how I would expect Liverpool to face. So now looking at this whole lineup in the screen right now, this lineup is exactly the same lineup and the same players that had featured in the game against Chelsea. So um, definitely, I would expect the back four, the whole back five to remain the same as in Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent, and Konate at the back. Uh, these are the four. They will be remain unchanged, barring any injuries, which I'm hoping nothing would ever happen. In the midfield, that is the pivotal point. That is where we have to look into right now. So the reason as to why I chose this three midfield, especially with Gakpo in the center midfield, is because, and utterly because, um, looking at our current injury list, we don't really have a very long list of injuries. I think the only mentioned one which is very noticeable is Curtis Jones being out with an ankle problem. So I think it's a recurring injury. It's a recurring injury that needs to be tended to. So he will be out for this game. Uh, Not sure. I am unsure of when he would be available to play. Yes, he did play against Chelsea, but he had this reoccurring ankle problem that needs to be tended to. So he will be unavailable. We have Thiago and Stefan Bacetic back from injury, training with the first team, but still yet to be integrated into the squad as in terms of match day is concerned, because I think Klopp feels like they still need to be back up to full fitness, because Thiago barely had any. I think he didn't play any preseason games. So I think for Bajcetic as well, he wasn't really involved in preseason as well. So them being integrated slowly back into the team, I think is the safest option right now. Uh, Definitely slightly missing Thiago as well, because I don't really expect Gakpo to be flourishing in the whole centre midfield position, because I feel that would be Thiago's position, and that's where he is good at. Um, so with that being said, let's look at the team. So I would go for the midfield. I would go for Gakpo, Alexis McAllister, and Dominic Soboslai. I would remain the same. Uh, and then we will go up to the attack, which is the same as the Chelsea game. We will go for Luis Diaz. On the center, we have Diogo Jota, and on the right, we would have Mohamed Salah. So this is the whole team. I would expect this team to have the same play style and to have the same intensity that we had in the start of the game against Chelsea. Uh, Definitely wouldn't expect them to change anything. What would most likely would happen is when Trent would go up here. Yeah, let me just move him up. So he would go up into this midfield, and then you would have Soboslai, Trent, and then you would have these three guys coming into the defense, and this would how basically they would perform. This would how basically they would actually be playing in the match as a whole. So uh, very interesting to see how our team would actually uh, be set up in terms defensively, because we are having a huge gap in the middle here. So Konate has a lot of work to do in terms of playing in the center half position, and as well as covering for Trent whenever he bombs up forwards here. Most probably his position would be here. So let me just move up. You would see the front three getting into the box. Most of the time, you would have Trent here, you would have Gakpo, and then you would have McAllister playing as the number 6, the drop down, the deep lying midfielder. And then you would have Soboslai, Trent, and Gakpo, especially playing in the attack. So basically, in attack, this is how our formation is expected to play. But huge concerns is especially in the right here and a little bit on the left as well, because as you can see, due to the way we are playing, we don't expect Robertson to bomb up too much, because if he is overlapping again with Diaz and Gakpo, there are chances that our attack would be, our defense would be open to a counter attack by Bournemouth. So we have to be really, really be careful of that. So with that being said, couple of concerns. Yes, definitely on whether on the performance of Diogo Jota against Chelsea. So in that game, Jota's performance was okay. Wasn't 100%, wasn't perfect, but definitely would expect more from him. Yes, there are there are people in the opinion thinking that why not we swap Jota for Nunes. So if let's say we are to substitute Jota for Nunes, so what basically happens is, if Nunes plays up front, which I'm totally fine with, but he's not the false nine player. He's more of like an out and out striker. So in that case, what we would expect is for Gakpo and Soboslai to actually bomb up forwards and provide passes or balls to the likes of the front three. So Diaz, Salah, and Nunes. So Nunes, what he's very good at is he's very good at pressuring the defense. He's very good at doing that. He's very good in playing a high pressure game in terms of playing the high press. So since he's very good at doing that, and he has good pace, he can run in behind the defenders. So what basically we can do is, since our midfield three are very good passers of the ball, no denying they are very good dribblers of the ball. But in terms of long passing, they are also good as well. Gakpo, we very rarely saw him playing long passes because he would mainly be in the false nine position. So with him playing in the center midfield position, what he can be doing now is supporting Diaz and supporting Darwin Nunes. So that's what he can do. He can play the short passes, he can play dribbles, he can play the 1-2 passes where he can go in, or maybe Darwin Nunes can drop deep, or he would just allow Darwin Nunes to bomb up forwards while he drops, while he pushes up to it, while he pushes up to the attacking areas and gets a shot in, as well as Dominic Soboslai as well. He is yet, Dominic Soboslai, his partnership with Darwin Nunes is yet to be tested. We haven't seen it yet. Yes, we did. We never really saw glimpses of him and Darwin Nunes playing together because of the whole substitution thing which happened in Chelsea. A lot of the experienced players were taken out. So with that being said, so this is how the team would be if Darwin Núñez were to play. But in my opinion, Darwin Núñez is a good option. He's definitely is a good option to be played in the attack, but he can be rash sometimes. Rash in the sense that um, he he's a runner, yes, but then sometimes the shots that he takes the shots in terms of his ball control in the attacking areas, especially in the penalty box. It's not polished yet. It needs to be a bit more crisp. It needs to have a bit more of a control. It needs to have more control on the ball. So maybe due to that, I think Jota has that control and has that calmness about him where he can dribble the ball, he can pass the ball, and definitely he can control the ball in these kind of areas, especially in the penalty area. So that is very, very important, especially with a side like Bournemouth. Yes, Bournemouth are very, very physical, but I feel that now our midfield is a little bit more physical, just that we don't have that defensive midfielder right now. So yes, Endo is not available. He would be available in the next game against Newcastle. So with that being said, this would be how our team would line up, and I expect Jurgen Klopp to field out this team yet again against Bournemouth. So with that being said, definitely looking for a more interesting match this time round. I am yet to see how. I didn't watch the Bournemouth game. I only saw just a few highlights and stuff like that. But all I have read about Bournemouth is that they are a very, very physical team. They will try to get on your hits. I think previously, I think last season when Scott Parker played against us, he played of a more defensive style. He had to park the bus against us, which never really worked because we smashed them 9-0. But I think on the reverse fixture, we lost 1-0. I think at the time it was not Scott Parker. I think it was another manager, but he really did well. He made the team very, very physical. They were very, very organized. They never really attacked a lot, but then when since our midfield couldn't really hold the ball well, what Bournemouth did was they would just dominate the whole midfield, and they do have good attacking players. So that is also somewhat, not to say a cause of concern, but definitely something that we should be very, very be alert with in terms of how our team is being set up to attack and also to defend. So with that being said, we have almost come towards the end. Thank you so much for taking your time. So hopefully, before I go off, I think I would have to give my score prediction. So against Bournemouth, I think likely we might, hopefully we can win 3-0, not 9-0, but hopefully we can win maybe 3-0 or 3-1. So that is my prediction. Let me know what you guys think in terms of how the team should be set up and how the team should, the scoreline prediction is going to be tonight. 10 p.m. would be Malaysian time for our matchup. Definitely looking forward to it. I will come up with a match review once I've done watching the match. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for for subscribing to my channel, to all the subscribers, and also do smash the like button, like, share, subscribe, and follow me on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on in Spotify, and on YouTube as well. You can follow my channel. You can subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and I will see you guys soon. And take care, guys.